The story begins with a father and daughter climbing Troll Hill in western Norway during their holidays. After reaching the top, Tobaya told his daughter, Nora, about the ancient legend of trolls. It is believed that thousands of years ago, giant trolls roamed the world, but one day someone cast a spell on them and turned them into stone statues. Tobaya, who trusted these old tales, believed the trolls were still hidden in Norway's mountains and might awaken again someday. Hearing this, young Nora became very curious about the story. But 20 years later, when Nora grew up, she no longer believed in magic or myths. Now she trusted only modern science. She had become a paleontologist. Paleontologists are scientists who study the past by examining ancient remains found underground. After 6 months of hard work, she finally discovered a major fossil. To celebrate, she partied with her friends. Meanwhile, construction work was speeding up to build a new metro station in the mountains. To clear the way for the metro, engineers were blasting inside the hills. Many people were protesting these blasts. But ignoring the protests, the engineers continued their work. When they entered a cave, they suddenly heard strange sounds. Before they could understand anything, the ground began shaking violently. The next moment, the engineers saw a massive and terrifying creature. Seeing it, they ran to save their lives, but falling debris trapped them inside the cave. Soon, news of this incident reached the Norwegian army headquarters. The general immediately sent a plane to capture clear images of the site so they could understand what had happened. He also ordered that the prime minister be informed at once. Soon after, the prime minister of Norway arrived with her advisor, Andrea. She headed to the military base where she met the defense minister on the way. He told her that more than 50 people had already died in the accident. She was then shown images of the site where huge holes were visible in the ground. Andrea felt they looked like the footprints of an enormous creature, but he hesitated to speak clearly, and his thoughts were dismissed. Meanwhile, Nora was still celebrating with her friends. Suddenly, an army helicopter arrived and a soldier stepped out.
He informed Nora that the Prime Minister wanted to meet her immediately.
Without wasting time, Nora boarded the helicopter and left for the military base. As soon as she arrived, Andrea took her to a room where all the top-rank officers, along with the Prime Minister, were seated. Based on the information gathered so far, everyone believed the incident was caused by some kind of deadly gas. But Nora disagreed with that explanation. She went to examine the footprints shown in the images. From the marks, she felt it might be a massive ancient creature that had somehow come alive again. Andrea also had similar thoughts, but he did not consider it appropriate to say these things in front of everyone. The other officials dismissed Nora's ideas and believed she was joking. According to them, no ancient creature could be behind this disaster. They questioned what such a creature would have eaten for so many years, and how it could survive this long. At that moment, a tech expert named Cigarette entered the room. She presented a video of the incident that she had obtained with great difficulty. The moment she played the footage, everyone in the room was stunned. The video clearly showed a massive monster nearly 150 feet long. It became obvious that an enormous creature was moving through the mountains of Norway. Meanwhile, in a village called Leska, an elderly couple was resting peacefully in their home. Suddenly, they heard a loud roar. Moments later, everything inside their house began to shake violently. They assumed it was an earthquake and, in fear, hid inside a secret room. When the shaking stopped and they came out, they found their entire house destroyed. The surrounding area had also suffered heavy damage. Back at the base, Nora was fully prepared to investigate the incident. With everyone's approval, the Prime Minister appointed her as the scientific advisor. After the meeting ended, Andreas informed Nora about the destruction in Leska. Immediately, they boarded a helicopter and left for the village. During the flight, they spoke a lot. Andrea asked Nora why she chose to become a paleontologist. Nora said she had loved nature since childhood and wanted to understand the world more deeply. She also told him about her father, Tobaya, who used to take her to the mountains and share stories about them. But over time, he became so absorbed in those stories that he lost touch with reality. Eventually, his condition became so severe that he had to be admitted to a mental hospital. When Nora and Andreas saw the destruction in Leska, they were shocked. There they met Captain Chris, who was leading the operation for the army. Chris told them that after causing massive damage in Leska, the creature traveled 2 miles further. Then it suddenly vanished. Despite the army's efforts, they could not track it. It was as if the enormous monster had disappeared into thin air. After this, they questioned the old couple, who were still terrified. Since they had hidden in their secret room, they did not know much. Still, the old woman said she had heard the roar of some creature, as if King Kong was about to attack them. But this information was not enough to reach any conclusion. So Nora began investigating the area on her own. During her search, she noticed a strange smell. Following the scent, she discovered a massive footprint. Nora immediately started examining it. But despite her efforts, she could not find any biological sample that could help identify the creature. With no other options left, Nora decided to take help from her father. He lived far away on a mountain. To reach him quickly, Nora, Andreas, and Captain Chris took a helicopter. But as soon as they arrived, Tobaya pointed a gun at them. The moment he saw Nora, he calmed down. He invited all of them inside his home, where he was still researching trolls even after so many years. When they showed him the video, he was shocked. He simply said, "They have come." Nora did not understand anything, and asked him for a scientific explanation so they could find a way to deal with the creature. But Tobaya remained committed to his research. According to him, trolls vanished from Norway because people adopted Christianity. He also claimed he tried to reveal this truth years ago, but was sent to a mental hospital to silence him. Then he grabbed his bag and told them all to follow him to a specific place. They flew for some time in the helicopter, and finally reached the location Tobaya mentioned. He began investigating the area as soon as they landed. After looking around, he realized the place had changed completely. Meanwhile, Nora again sensed the same strange smell she had named hyper-nature. Before they could understand anything, Nora spotted a huge creature there. It was the same troll hiding in the surroundings. Fortunately, everyone quickly got back into the helicopter and escaped. After reaching a safe area, they sent the troll's video to the government. Everyone was shocked to see such a massive troll. Now that the existence of trolls was confirmed, the Prime Minister immediately launched a military operation against it. Captain Chris was put in charge of the mission. Following the Prime Minister's orders, the army began a dangerous attack on the troll. But even their most powerful missiles had no effect on the creature. They were not able to harm the creature in any way. As As soon as the troll grabbed and ate a soldier, Tobaya stepped in front of it and tried to calm it down. At first, the troll listened to Tobaya, but suddenly another army unit attacked it. Angered by the attack, the troll turned toward the soldiers. Its tail swung and struck Tobaya directly. He was badly injured. Seeing this, Nora ran toward her father, but Tobaya died before she could speak to him. That night, Nora read her father's diary while crying, hoping to find a way to stop the trolls. After reading for hours, she learned that trolls often attacked churches. They destroyed them because they hated the sound of bells. When Nora shared this idea with the government officials, they first thought she was being unreasonable. Missiles were not working, so Nora believed they needed a different approach. The Prime Minister eventually approved her plan. Soon, 4 army helicopters carrying large church bells headed toward the troll. The plan worked briefly, but the troll quickly regained control and destroyed all 4 helicopters. Now it became even more furious and caused destruction everywhere. In the chaos, the troll also saved a child's life, showing that it still had some sense of compassion. After this incident, news channels worldwide began reporting the story. Panic spread among the public. The Prime Minister declared a state of emergency. She ordered Oslo and nearby areas to be evacuated immediately. The troll was rapidly moving toward the city. Meanwhile, because her plan failed, Nora was removed from her position as scientific advisor. At the same time, Andreas discovered the government's next plan. They intended to destroy the troll using massive bomb blasts around Oslo, but Andreas had no power to stop them, so he resigned from his job. Thousands of people were fleeing their homes, including Nora and Andreas. Nora felt heartbroken that she could not save the country from this crisis. She began reading her father's diary again. This time she noticed the name Sinding repeated many times. When she mentioned it to Andreas, he explained that Sinding was a prince who once lived in a grand palace in Oslo. He was also the richest man in the country. Nora felt they might find a clue in the palace. She immediately asked Andreas to drive there. When they reached the palace, they met rich Sinding, who was already waiting for them. After this, he took them inside the palace. Finally, he revealed the secret of Norway's trolls. Tobaya had been right all along. In ancient times, trolls truly roamed the lands of Norway. Sinding led them into an underground chamber. There, he admitted that he had ruined Tobaya's life to keep this truth hidden. When Tobaya got too close to exposing everything, it was Sinding who had him sent to a mental hospital. The secret he wanted to hide was the skeletons of trolls buried beneath the palace. His family had kept them hidden from the world for generations. The palace itself was built on top of the Troll King's cave. The Troll King and his entire family had been wiped out during the spread of Christianity. The creature now causing destruction across the country was the Troll King himself. He was simply trying to return home. Sinding explained that trolls valued their families more than anything. During Norway's Christianization, the Troll King was forced into the mountains. Now, because of the recent explosions, he had awakened and returned. He was heading to Oslo only to reunite with his family. Nora and Andreas were shocked to learn that the skeletons of the Troll King's family were lying right in front of them. When Nora shined UV light on the bones, they immediately began to melt. This proved that trolls could not survive UV light. Nora then asked Sinding for his largest vehicle. He handed her the Queen's favorite truck. Nora called Captain Chris and told him about her plan. They would lure the Troll King, trap him in a net, and attack him with UV light. For this, they needed several large UV lights. Andreas contacted his friend Cigarette and begged her to delay the Oslo bombing at any cost. Luckily, Cigarette was an expert hacker. She quietly disabled the missile launch system without alerting anyone. Meanwhile, Nora and Andreas continued working on their plan. They drove around with the skull of the Troll King's child in the truck. They used it to intentionally draw the Troll King's attention. Their goal was to lead him straight into the UV light trap. When the Troll King eventually broke the skull, he realized his entire family was gone. This made him even more furious. Back at the military base, Cigarette was caught hacking, but the general understood her intentions and canceled the bombing plan. There were still many civilians in the city who would have died in those explosions. Meanwhile, Nora and Andreas finally managed to guide the troll into the trap. As soon as he arrived, Captain Chris and his team switched on all the UV lights at once. Their plan began to work. Slowly, the troll started burning, but seeing him suffer in such pain, Nora suddenly changed her mind. She began turning off the UV lights one by one because she wanted to save his life. But by then, it was already too late. The sun rose at that exact moment. As soon as the sunlight struck the Troll King, he collapsed to the ground. Within seconds, his body weakened and turned completely into stone. Seeing his death, Nora felt a deep sadness inside. While everyone around her celebrated, Nora and Andreas were still uneasy. They wondered if any more trolls were still hidden somewhere in the country. At that moment, the Prime Minister arrived. She was so pleased with Nora's efforts that she struggled to find the right words to praise her. Her smile alone showed how relieved and grateful she was. A few days later, the unexpected happened. Large rocks across the land suddenly began to move again. From those shifting stones, another troll slowly emerged, fully ready to unleash chaos on Norway. I truly felt bad for the Troll King. In the end, all he wanted was to return to his home. What do you think about this? Tell us in the comments. See you in the next video.